are driven by the finer things. I see more than materials and wealth. What have you got to give to me? What I don't already give myself. You are driven by the...
I hope you're finding beautiful and refreshing ways to illuminate your own path. Now, I wanted to talk about something which was brought up to me recently, and someone said to me, like, Sydney, like, how come you're so creative when it comes to, making YouTube? You're doing loads of episodes, you're bringing it out on a constant basis, and I was like, the creative energy is just surging through me, and I don't really want to be, watching TV or playing games and making this creative energy go to waste. So I just decided to myself, let me just put it into the process of creating more things. So using my creative energy to in turn create more things, in turn to create more opportunities for other people who are watching. So if you are getting inspired by this, it's absolutely amazing. And I'm very grateful for you. And also I'm very grateful for all of you liking and sharing and subscribing to my things as well. It actually means a lot. So honestly, from the bottom of my heart, I thank you. So for now, I am going to talk about creativity, but creating creativity. Now, with creating creativity, it's just essentially me just saying, how do I find and formulate ideas to be more creative? That's essentially what it means. So there's a few things that I want to share with you today, and this will be Sydney's way of just finding that creative process just to make sure that I can do more videos. And not only that, just get the inspiration, because through that creative energy, you start doing more things at home, for example. You start becoming more productive. You start becoming more efficient. So this creativity can be used in various different ways. And these are some of the ways where I get to that creative point where I start getting a surge of energy. Now, the first thing for me that really helps is being in nature. Now, personally speaking, I wait until it's about 10, 11 p.m. Then I go for a walk around my local park. Just walk the circumference of it and just leaving my phone at home, just being tech-free. And what is amazing is when you can go to a space, it doesn't necessarily have to be at night time, it could be during the day as well. But when you go through a space in nature, you start observing other things. Now, for example, I went the other night and I saw bats, and I was like, oh, bats, don't like bats. But then one night I went there and I realized to myself, oh, sorry, hay fever, I think. When it comes to bats, I started realizing actually bats are just there just trying to live their lives. We are fearful of bats and other things without even understanding the creature themselves. And for example, we might be scared of spiders, but spiders do a lot. They travel a lot. They're very interesting. And once you start seeing things in an interesting way instead of a fearful way, you learn from them. And just observing one of these many things in the beautiful thing we call nature actually puts things into perspective, and we actually start using that creative power to formulate things for our own kind of ideas going forward. Now, seeing a bat, you learn about bats, you understand bats, and sometimes you just want to make a YouTube video based on bats. It might not even be that, it might be the fact that trees, they grow leaves and they get all these beautiful flowers in the spring, but in the autumn they're dying again. You can learn about these things, but just a simple act of critical thought and actually thinking about the process of nature can give you so much more things to think about and do, and that same critical thought can take you places in your career. Now, the next thing I wanted to talk about when it comes to creating my creativity is journaling. Now, with journaling, I don't necessarily talk about just having a journal. You can have a diary, you can have a scheduler, you can also have a calendar or a whiteboard or several pieces of paper, whatever works for you, but just writing down things is good, because if you have a state of introspection and if you just want to just think to yourself, okay, what did I write 3 weeks ago? You can actually read through what you've written and you can see a new perspective. Now, I'll give you a good example. I watch a TV show watched it all the way through, and then a few weeks later or a few months later, I watched the same thing again. And I realized that I was watching it from a different perspective. I was watching it from a perspective where I wasn't watching it the way I watched it before. I knew how the storyline went, but I started looking closely for little Easter eggs. I was looking closely for more character development. I was looking for one-liners that people said, or even the looks. That's why I realized I look at some people's looks when they say something or if they hear news, and you get a whole new surge of interesting things that you found from the movie or TV show. And that's what journaling does. You look at the same thing that you've written 3-5 weeks ago, and you start seeing a new fresh perspective that you might have missed. That, in my personal opinion, gives you quite a lot of information to actually express or expand your thought process. So that's another thing when it comes to creating creativity. The next thing that I wanted to talk about is just exercising. Now, with exercising, going for a jog, swimming, even walking through parks, it goes in tandem. Once you start exercising, you get rid of the stale energy and you start seeing things more clearer, because sometimes you have pain, sometimes you have aches, and sometimes your focus goes on there. Sometimes you're at home not doing anything and you end up being on your phone or sleeping. But when you exercise and you don't have your phone with you, you kind of express yourself. You start looking at little things. You start hearing conversations. You start listening to the birds. You might start hearing cars. You might see synchronicities. You might see like 555 everywhere, for example. You might go into shops. You might go swimming and meet interesting people. And this goes all in hand with the simple art of exercising, by actually just going out and being more super aware and focused and exercising your body. You realize that your mind, your body, and your soul starts resonating at a certain frequency, and you start realizing things that you never really realized before. Now, I remember there was some points where I'll be at home all week and I had to say to myself, I need to go out and do some exercising. And when I exercise, I'm in a completely new environment, and you kind of just see so much inspiration in abundance. And that goes with the exercise. And sometimes you're doing push-ups and you don't think of things from a dormant kind of way. You see things more expressive. When your body moves, you start thinking, complement this. What can I eat to complement it? All right, how am I gonna look? How's it gonna make me feel? Oh, let me buy some more knee pads or something so I can do further exercises. You start expressing yourself more. You start thinking once you get into the state of exercising. And I would say with any of these things, write in the comment section below if it works for you. And I'll say try a lot of these things for 30 days and let me know if there's any changes. While you do that, please also like and share this around as well, and subscribe if you can. That would be absolutely amazing too. Thank you very much. Another thing is social events. Now, if you know about me, I do go to a lot of poetry events, and I also go to other events as well. I like going to different events. It's not just poetry, but if you hear someone expressing themselves about their lives, you start learning a lot of things about your lives. You realize that you might have a kinship. You realize that if you go to yoga, you might see something, a vision which comes to you. You might find something unlocked and dormant, but you wouldn't know how these things can help you in a good way if you don't attend them. So I would say, if you can, go to social events, go on Eventbrite. I'll write this down here. EVENTIBRITE. And you see all sorts of events in your town or city, or in cities and towns near you. And what you do there is, they have loads of different events that you can go to. You can express yourself. You can go to knitting workshops. You can go to open mic events. You can go to singing. You can go to dancing. You can try all these things. And for me, once I go to these events, I come home and I'm just like, okay, I digest everything. What did I learn? Who did I learn from? What can I learn about myself through these events? And I just go home and I'm just like, all right, let me just write something. Let me just do something. Let me just create a new video. And I'm really grateful for these social events, because before that I was not doing much. I was just looking forward to the weekend, just having fun. But now I realized I could do an event for an hour or two go home and like have just as much fun, but in a more creative way, like I'm doing with Illuminated DiiSCLAIMER. So the last thing I want to talk about, I'm going to put this over here with creating creativity, is asking for advice, which is quite close to social events, but asking for advice can give you a lot of food for thought. Now, I don't necessarily mean speaking to family and friends. If you can, that's perfect. Just say, what things are upsetting you? Like, you could say to them, if I was doing a YouTube about food, what foods do you like? What foods do you enjoy? Why don't you like this kind of food? If you're talking about traveling, say to people, put a poll on your Instagram, for example, and say, what countries have you been to? What countries would you recommend? Or you could just go on the website as well. Internet's very useful for these things. So you could just say, what places get good reviews, what places get bad reviews, and start finding a way to go in there. But I realized for me, I did a lot of this by myself, but I realized I don't need to. I could ask for help, I could ask for support, I could watch other videos and get inspiration from them. And looking at the way that people do things actually makes you think, wow, actually, I could do this in my own way, or I can talk about this new thing, or I can find a completely new niche. But that's the thing about creativity. Creativity is something that's created by everybody who's around. Things have been created and given to us in a way where we all have the power to create in our own right. So sometimes if we feel like we need to do it by ourselves, we probably need to see a new perspective and actually realize sometimes you could just ask around, and that will help our ideas formulate even further. As you can see, there's a bus outside, for example. This bus is a improvement of the previous bus, and that bus is it's a improvement of the previous bus before that, etc., etc., etc. So it's just about getting a really good idea and putting your own spin and niche onto it, and just finding a whole new way to unlock an abundance of creativity and joy in your own right. Now, that has been a new episode of Illuminated DiiSCLAIMER. I've been Sydney and you've been absolutely wicked. But thank you so much for watching, and yeah, I'll just say please just click on the link in the bio and just see everything I'm getting, I'm currently doing. I'm doing quite a lot of things in different places, and it's just going to go up. So please follow the journey, please like, share and subscribe, and yeah, just keep on following the dream, and please keep on accompanying me on me trying to find my dream as well. So until the next one, thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourselves, and I hope you keep on finding beautiful ways to illuminate your path. Take care now.